Hello there, my name is Anna Lundberg. I'm the founder of One Step Outside, author of Leaving the Corporate 9 to 5 and host of the Reimagining Success podcast. Now, the last few months, and in fact always really, I've been talking about how to set up a business to create freedom, flexibility and fulfillment in your life and in your schedule. And the last couple of weeks we've been zoning in on a more specific topic of creating that freedom and flexibility in your life, in your business, when you're actually planning to have a young family. And this week we're getting even more concrete in terms of planning for maternity leave so that your business will keep running even while you're taking some time off. And I want to give you 5 pointers now today. So number 1, and it will be no surprise because I always start with this, it is define success. So last week we talked about how to define success as a parent and as an entrepreneur, as a business owner. This week it's really defining what success looks like for you for your maternity leave. And that can be logistically, when do you want to take time off, how long for, when do you want to come back, and then also setting specific goals for that time. So you probably don't want to expect that this is going to be your biggest sales quarter or even sales year ever, but perhaps there are some more realistic personal goals that you can set for the business in terms of maintaining your online presence, keeping up the momentum that you've created already. Perhaps you've been investing a lot of time and energy in terms of building a personal brand online presence. You don't want that to die when you're no longer active. On the personal side, maybe you want to set some goals around being present with a baby, being able to focus 100% on those first few weeks, months, whatever it is for you, without having to stress and worry about the business. Now, speaking about worrying about the business, I think probably the biggest concern is number 2, your financials. And we talked generally about setting up your financials and your business model last week. But again, here we're looking more specifically at maternity leave. So, for example, you might want to look at your business activity for the coming year and front load your year so that more of your income generating activities are happening in those earlier months. Hopefully you won't have morning sickness, and you can plan to do a lot of extra work perhaps in the early months. Certainly the second trimester apparently is less likely to be when you're feeling unwell and maybe have a new burst of energy, but obviously you want to front load your activities rather than have them happening while you're supposed to be off. So try to plan your business calendar first of all. And secondly, make sure that you're finding out about any kind of rights that you have in your country. So statutory maternity pay, for example, here in the UK, or maternity allowance. Make sure you're applying for and you know how much you can get if you're eligible and so on. So financially look at your business plan for the year, but also make sure that you're applying for any additional support that you can get. So number 3, and we've talked about this generally a few weeks ago, was creating systems and outsourcing. These are even more critical, of course, when you're taking time off, whether you're taking time off to travel the world or to have a child. So taking those 2 in turn and setting up tools, technology, systems that will keep things going while you're out of the business is ideal. It might be scheduling social media, for example, or having email newsletters go out. And then secondly, probably even more importantly, if you can begin to outsource or even get a team, whatever that kind of virtual team might look like for you, some freelancers working part-time, even just one person supporting you, that can be incredibly powerful to keep things going while you're absent. So they might manage your social media for you, publishing, messaging. They can manage your client communication in the meantime to keep those engaged, and we'll talk about that in a moment, and they can do lots of basic admin and so on for you as well. So getting the systems and your team set up well in advance so that they're working smoothly before you take that time off is really, really important. Now, number 4 is getting organised. Now, everything we're talking about here is thinking and planning ahead, but even more so specifically then when it comes to actually making sure these things are happening. So getting those tools and systems set up ahead of time, hiring, recruiting, getting your new team onboarded so that they're ready to go and hitting the ground running when you're taking that time off. And then specifically, I talk a lot about content strategy, building your personal brand, your business brand online. And I know this may sound pretty difficult, if not impossible, but you might want to consider planning, creating and scheduling your content for the entire period, ideally, of your maternity leave. Now, if it's a year, even I would say that might be tricky, but let's say you're taking 3-4 months off completely, then ideally you'd be recording podcast episodes, pre-writing blog posts, and whatever it is, preparing content for that period. Now, you may handle this in different ways. If you are organised, you may be able to create it all up front. If there's a lot of stuff going on in your business with videos and podcasts and emails, maybe you can pull back a little bit, reduce the frequency, for example, or perhaps you can outsource. You can find some guest contributors to come onto your blog or podcast. So have a think creatively around how you can keep all this content going even while you're out of the business. And then finally, but perhaps most importantly, how are you going to manage client communication and prospects as well? What you don't want is to disappoint, ignore all these people who are excited about working with you, who have been working with you and want to continue working with you when you're off. So when it comes to clients, be really clear about when are you going to communicate to them that you'll be off. Can you, again, front load those projects with them? Can you delay or defer them to after your leave? Or worst case, can you refer them to someone else, to some peer that you really trust to deliver up to your standards? And with prospects, you want to maintain that communication. Maybe you can have a freelancer in your team communicating with them and also point them in the direction of resources that can support them in the meantime. So get them to join your Facebook group, subscribe to your podcast, get onto your email list so that they get that support in the meantime to keep moving forwards. So those are the 5 tips I have for you. However, as much as you can, define success, manage your finances, create those systems and outsourcing, get organised as much as possible and manage that client communication. You need to be ready for the unexpected. You just don't know how you're going to deal with pregnancy or how you're going to deal with those first few weeks and months. Things may happen unexpectedly. So expect the unexpected. Let's plan as much as possible, but be ready for things to go a little bit pear-shaped, be ready for chaos and be ready to be a bit spontaneous and intuitive around how to manage these things. Bear in mind that your business will survive, even if you ignore it completely for weeks, months on end. However, your newborn child probably won't. So let's prioritize what really matters. And this is just to help you feel as prepared as possible. Know that you've done everything you could to prepare, to give you that peace of mind so that you can relax and enjoy that time with your baby. So speaking of Facebook groups, I'd love for you to come and join my Facebook group, the One Step Outside group. You can just search One Step Outside on Facebook, or you can go to onestepoutside.com/community, onestepoutside.com/community, and you will meet a group of like-minded people working on building their businesses for that freedom, flexibility and fulfillment. So I hope to see you there. Thanks so much, and I'll see you next week.